Hello there, this is Mike Goldenberg. I'm here with Amulet Titan and a very, very powerful hand here. I will absolutely keep. So 2 amulets is very explosive. I will start off with a Secure Tribe Scout, and my goal is to grab an Ancient Stirrings to get more land. Or I could just, let's see. So this is what's crazy about this deck, right? I could cast Amulet of Vigor, play Simic Growth Chamber, float 2 mana, bounce it back. That's 1 land drop. Then with 1 of that floating mana, I can play another Amulet of Vigor, have 1 floating mana, cast Secure Tribe Scout, bounce that same land, float 4 mana. Now I have 5 floating mana. So you can see I'm really close to getting there this turn. So let's see. Okay. I want to make sure I have at least 1 Karoo land in hand. I shouldn't have tapped that a second time. Doesn't matter though. Just tell my opponent I do not have a negate in hand. So a mana leak is really the only thing that can kind of mess up. A hard counter actually is the only thing that can really mess up my strategy right now, because next turn I'm going to have a ton of mana. Each time I play Selesnya Sanctuary, it'll be 4 mana. I can play it 3 times, so that'll be 4 times 3, 12 mana. So here, I'm actually going to be grabbing another Titan. With the Summoner's Pact, cast Summoner's Pact, get another Primeval Titan, cast my other Primeval Titan. Remember, I still have 4 mana represented from this other Secure Tribe Scout. So if I get the same thing again, right? I will have to use a Simic Growth Chamber to get my other one. But I will not be able to attack with both this turn. Let's see. It takes 9 mana to the loop I just represented. 3 for Tolaria West and 6 for the Prime Time. If I get a Tolaria West and a Simic Growth Chamber, the Growth Chamber will net me 4 mana. The Tolaria West will net me 1, 2. That's 6, 7 mana. I could then use a Simic Growth Chamber, get a third Titan in play. I don't know if that's the route I want to go right now. I can't attack with 3 Titans, and I wouldn't be able to attack if I did that right now. So instead I'm going to go... Well, I could get the third. Yep, I can only attack with 2 because I only have 2 amulets in play. So I'm actually just going to grab the Boros Garrison and the Slayer Stronghold, which is one of the combos in the deck. Uh-oh. I think I might have just messed that up with the triggers. Yep. Let's see. Nope, I'll be okay. And I'll return the Stronghold to my hand and go to combat. So I will need 4 mana for Sunhome. So I think I actually want my first trigger to set up the Sunhome kill, which gives everything double strike. So with that, if I can just set up the 4 mana, so I'll get 2. I'll get a Gemstone. I'll get a Selesnya Sanctuary, which will give me white mana. White. Then I'll just need red and a Gemstone Mine, and the Sunhome following that will be fine. Oh, it does not. MTGO does not tell you what you're untapping, which is kind of a pain. I'm grabbing Sunhome, and Vesuva can copy the Boros Garrison. So there's my red-white mana. Or I can just grab a Gemstone Mine. But I'll grab the Vesuva. It's easier. And there is 32 damage. Okay, so I don't know my opponent made me do all that. It did take a lot of clicking. Alright, let's check out the sideboard guide for this matchup. Okay. So I want my Negates and Spell Pierces. I want my Rurik Thar. I obviously want my Cavern of Souls. Reclamation Sage can be pretty huge in stopping Damping Sphere. And maybe I want an extra threat. So maybe I want one of these two. Probably not, but it's a possibility. Things I don't want. Let's see. Kelney Garden does absolutely nothing here. Ghost Quarter does a lot. So you always have to check out which land you don't really want. Kabira Crossroads is pretty bad here as well. So I'll trim 2 lands, but then I'll add 1, so I'll still be at 28. I do like Walking Ballista a decent amount. Engineered Explosives I can get to 4, so that could be a way to deal with a Planeswalker. Summoner's Pact, I'm probably not going to need all 4. I can cut a little bit of ramp. And 2 more cards. Could probably cut another land. I didn't really bring in any white cards, so I'll cut a Razor Verge Thicket. And either an Amulet or a Scout. I'll trim the Scout. Really, any hand with an Amulet gets a lot better, as we just saw there. So this hand's fine. What you're really looking for in Amulet Titan is try to get 6 mana as fast as possible. And we do have 2 ramp spells right there. And if that gets a Amulet, then we're in great shape here. One of my priorities in this matchup is finding one of my 2 Cavern of Souls and protecting it. I am hoping that my opponent decides to foolishly Field of Ruin a Karoo land, because the only land that actually matters that I have would be the Cavern. I know I trimmed a Tribe Scout, but man, hands look so much better when you do have a Scout in hand. Okay, so I could play an Azusa right now and just dump my hand. I think I might do that. No matter which land I had there, a trigger was coming into play. Okay. If you want to path my Azusa that already ramped me, I'm okay with that. So I'll bring back the Gemstone Mine. Unfortunately, that means I just can't cast Stirrings this turn. That does mean I am ready to start casting Prime Times. Okay. Sure. Anybody playing against Amulet Titan, don't do what my opponent just did. Path after the trigger, because I might be stupid enough to try to go for a win instead of to set myself up for the following turn. So I want to grab a... Oh man, I really want to get a Cavern, and if I have another Prime Time in hands, I'm going to grab a Cavern. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 mana, which we'd have to Cavern and Slayers, but I do not have the right color mana for Slayer, unfortunately. I still think it's the correct pick. Okay, click certainly hurts because now I lose my Prime Time. Might be one of the best cards they have in their deck against me. Luckily, Ancient Stirrings can dig me for stuff here. Unfortunately, nothing great. Arguably an incorrect play. My opponent wasn't going to block, and I could have protected my cards from my lands from Field of Ruin, but let's see. If I can get a Batterskull in play, it's very difficult for a control player to come back from. None of their board wipes really hit it. Okay. Opponent's at 16 now, which is a single hasty Titan bat coming in. I can fight that off. They still have 5 cards in hand. It looks like they're not tapping out, which means I need to draw a Titan here. Okay. Still missing red mana. I can Vesuva for a gemstone mine to eventually get that, but that doesn't do too much here. And racing my opponent isn't super great here because I am holding back 1 scout just in case of Field of Ruin. If they cast Field or try to use Field of Ruin, I can play a bounce land, bounce their targeted land, and they effectively spent 2 mana and lost a land. I think I'm going to be Vesuva-ing their Colonnade, so I can actually have a threat here. Probably should have done that before, because I do have plenty of mana and I have white mana. That probably would have been a good line a couple turns ago. Unfortunately, I just saw it. So if I attack my opponent, right, I can attack for 6, put them at 8, and have them on a slightly faster clock. But they do have their own Colonnade, so I'm probably in trouble here. I think I'm going to kill Teferi and hope for a prime time. That was a little unfortunate. My best possible draw is a Primeval Titan. I think I'm dead regardless, though. Their Vendilion Clique did a lot of work here. Okay, so they're not attacking with Colonnade. Must be saving it just for one big attack next turn. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So I can have a 5/5 Ballista, which will keep me alive. Or I can get a Prime Time and at 11 mana, I can get a Prime Time, bounce a Teleria West. I have 2 mana left over. Right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So I can Pact for a Prime Time, spend them, 5 mana left. Teleria West, 2 mana left. I do not have enough mana for an EE unless the card I bounce. Nope, I'm bouncing Teleria West. So I have to get Walking Ballista. Oh, I guess I have 12. That's why I miscounted there. That whole time I was just miscounting. And I technically could have bounced a... Oh, I probably should have flashed in Vesuva. Yep, now it gets countered. Okay, what I should have done there was I should have played Vesuva, bounced the Simic, copying a Simic Growth Chamber, bounced the Cavern, replay the Cavern, naming Construct, and then I would have had an uncounterable card. Okay, but instead I lose. I think I was still in a bad spot anyway. Alright, I want to bring in that Secured Tribe Scout, and I will trim an Amulet here. Okay, so lots of play with the deck. You can see I'm talking through some lines. I'm making a couple mistakes. I probably should have been attacking with Celestial Colonnade a little bit earlier. That was a line I didn't see. Usually so busy copying my own lands. I have copied a Raging Ravine against Jund one time, and that was fantastic. That was a really, really cool line. I was able to attack with it, enough mana to utilize its ability a few times and get, I think it was like 2 or 3 +1/+1 counters on it at once. Okay, I'll be on the play, which worked pretty well last time. I have a hand that needs lands. I'll keep it because I do run 28 lands after sideboarding. So I've got to draw some, right, Magic Gods? But man, if I only draw lands with this hand, I think this hand is great. Okay, that's a start. So I'll pass turn here. My opponent's holding up a path. Okay, so my opponent has a path. If they had an opt, they would have spent it right there, and they wouldn't have shocked themselves just for an opt and then not used it. So they have a path, they're saving it for a Zusa, which I'm fine with. I'll be playing a Zusa next turn. One thing that's a little awkward with this current hand is I really want to get that Simic Growth Chamber in play, but I also really want to hold on to it because it's great against Field of Ruin, and it's really good if I draw into an Amulet. But I still just need to ramp and hope I draw into more Karus. Now I could bluff that I have another land drop, but I actually don't. I don't want to bluff anything right now. I'd rather just take a damage away. I might have to win this a little bit fair. Okay. That's perfect for me. 1 mana closer to getting what I need. I wish that Cavern of Souls was on Giant. Wasn't expecting my opponent to exile a 1/1. Means they might have another path, so or maybe a snap. So I might just play a Zusa just to get her pathed. Sure. Oh, not a human. So Reclamation Sage is primarily for Damping Sphere, but that felt pretty good too. Buying back an Amulet's kind of like destroying a Damping Sphere to begin with. Okay, they're holding up a Ghost Quarter, which could blow up this cavern and pull out my last land. I feel a little naked right now, not having a Karoo and Secura to protect it. I was wrong in my original sideboard, pulling out that Secura. Game 2 made me realize that Secura Tribe Scout might be one of the most important cards in this matchup. Especially the way this opponent's playing, they're pathing them, which means they kind of recognize that too. Unfortunately, this can be countered. Yep. I have to look back and see if I should have just put Giant right after my second time I played it. It was still quite a bit of mana off, so I wasn't expecting to get too far with that, but I did have the blue mana for Trinket and the green for Azusa and Tribe Scout. Okay, I'm getting clicked here. That's not a problem. My hand is very redundant. I have a threat I cannot cast and 2 Azusas. If I were my opponent, I'd probably grab the Rurik just because it eventually will be very scary for them when they're sitting at 11 life. Really, I just need a Karoo, a Gemstone Mine, or my Boros Garrison, and I can cast this guy. Yep. So now I can cast them, but I don't have them anymore. Opponent's at 11, so I will punch as hard as I can. I figured that my opponent's been playing, they would prioritize their life a little bit more and not block the correct one, which is the Tribe Scout. Okay. Well, that's a turn too late. I can cast it because I do have the blue here and the blue here. So I will stop a Teferi if I have to. Other than that, I'm just going to use the Pact primarily to help me get a primetime down, to protect my threat. Okay. If my opponent's going to Ghost Quarter or Field of Ruins my Cavern, they should do so now. Otherwise, I'm going to keep it in my hand and protect it. A good draw would be, well, besides prime time. Really, I'm drawing to almost anything at this point. Opponent still has 5 cards in hand. I'm not sure what they're doing. Maybe they're holding up a Cryptic. That I'm not going to attack because they could block with Colonnade now. Sure. That hurts because that is a colored source, but if I draw the Ogre, I can still drop him with Cavern. That hurts because it's a big land that I get nothing in return for it. Okay, yep, now I'm just getting Ghost Quartered here. The bad news is actually I can no longer Pact of Negation. I did lose that blue source. Just in case they have Crucible Worlds, I'll just blow up their graveyard now when it's free. Really just need to draw into a threat. I have 40 cards left in my deck, and I've only seen one threat so far. This should help. Unfortunately, I don't have the second blue for Teleria West here. I can do Engineered Explosives on 4 or 5, which is kind of cool. I can grab another Cavern. I think I'll just grab the Gemstone Mine, which will turn on my Pact of Negation. I think my opponent's strategy is to time me here. Not really sure what else they're doing. They have to know eventually I'm going to run them out of threats, right? Or they're going to... Eventually I'm going to play something. So this pact is really just for something that's either going to kill me or, like I said, to protect my combo. I don't care about that. Sure. Okay, so they're deciding to hold up mana instead of attack me with Colonnade, which is smart. They do not know I have Pact of Negation in my hand. Prime. Or Batterskull, I guess. I could Pact of Negation this. My opponent still has 4 cards in hand. One could be a Cryptic. I think I let that happen. Come on, deck, draw something. 35 cards left. I still have 3 Prime Times, an Ogre. Plenty of things that are scary. That's not scary. Well, I'm going to lose this and only because I'm only drawing lands here. Walking Ballista, Trinket Mage. All these would be great, great draws. And that'll be game. I have 33 cards left in my deck. I only saw 2 threats. That is insane. Okay, well, good game, opponent. Here's the deck list I'm running right now. It does have that main board Batter Skill, which I think is kind of spicy. It's a threat that can be found off of Ancient Stirrings, which is always really relevant. And so cards I had left in that match, I still had 3 Prime Times. And I had the Rurik Thar left. I also had all of my Teleria Wests and my Walking Ballista. So I had 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 out of 33, was it? 33, 34, 35, something like that. A third of my deck was threats. Oh, plus my, no, more than that, because I also had 3 Summoners back still. Yikes. So the deck's powerful. Unfortunately, sometimes variance hits you and you don't draw anything. But ramp spells. That does happen when you run 13 of them. So that's the deck. Hope you like it. Let me know if I missed lethal at any point.